Hi, I'm going to read The Dream of the Thylacine by Margaret Wilde and Ron Brooks. You may or may not know that Thylacine is otherwise known as or was otherwise known as the Tasmanian Tiger. Um, it's now extinct, although some people believe that in parts of Tasmania, there are a few thylacines still in existence, but in the main, we think that the thylacine, the last thylacine, died in 1936 in a Tasmanian zoo. So this book really is very much a tribute, if you like, to an animal that has now become extinct, and who knows, very soon we may well be writing books in tribute to the koala, which allegedly has about a decade to live before it becomes extinct. So we really do need to take care of our wildlife in Australia and over the environment and the habitats that these various animals depend on for their survival. So if we look at the end cover, the end papers of this particular text, you can see that we've got quite a bright vista there, a background, but in the foreground we've got this kind of chicken wire fence, this fence, the idea that something is separating us from the natural environment. And then we move to these very kind of dark, almost black and white images here of this fence. It is a fence. And it's quite, you get the sense that this is quite old and aged. And as we go through this text, you'll see that the illustrator moves between these kind of very dark, almost sepia-like images and colourful images. So we need to ask ourselves, well, why have they designed the book in that way? Why have we got some pages that are in the sepia background and others that are colourful? What's the significance of that? So, from sessions that we've done where we've looked at, for example, the red tree, I noticed that the colour was very significant, and as we've said a number of times, writers and illustrators do not do anything by accident. There is a purpose behind these things. So this is where the text begins in the Thylacine, and you can see here, that this is an actual photograph of a thylacine in a zoo. Perhaps it's the last thylacine. So we've got this combination again in the book of documentary, visual documentary items and creatively constructed, colourful items. Okay, and listen to the way that the text is constructed, because this is deliberate as well. Trapped am I in a cage of twisty wire, cold concrete, prowl, rage, howl. Know you not that I am tooth and claw? See me hunt through bracken and bush. See me swagger across wild lands. See me glory at the edge of a cliff. And we talked about fonts before, but you can see here that there are key words that are in large bold print: prowl, rage, howl. And you may notice that as I read those, I'm accentuating the vowel sounds in those words: prowl, rage, howl. So it's almost the rage and prowl, it's the onomatopoeia, the sound, bringing out the sound that is linked to the emotions, as it were. And then we've got the colour spread here. So you'll notice that the sepia pictures are very much when the animal is within the cage, and the colour pictures are the animal in the natural environment being free, and therefore colour represents the difference between freedom and captivity in this particular text. And there again, a nice colour illustration of the Thylacine in the natural environment. And each picture here sort of picks up on an aspect of the first part of the text. So the Thylacine at the cliff's edge there, looking out over the expanse of the ocean. Ailing am I, in cage of twisty wire, cold concrete, mourn, ache, yearn. Know you not that my heart is a forest? Run with me through trees of striply bark. Run with me over creeks of flickering fish. Run with me where the snow falls slow. And again, that almost sepia picture, the kind of frosty, slightly out of focus picture of the Thylacine there. And again, these words accentuated. So it's mourn, ache, yearn. And notice also how the text on each of these pages begins, ailing am I. Now, in normal speech would say I am ailing or I am trapped. So why does the writer put the verb at the beginning of the sentence? Trapped am I, ailing am I. What does that do to the language? What does it do to meaning when you put the verb right at the beginning and the am I, the subject, at the end of that statement? I think it actually accentuates the feeling. So trapped, I am trapped. Trapped is the real powerful, the dominant word in this sentence, and am I almost kind of fades towards the end of the sentence, so it kind of accentuates my helplessness in a sense. So the writer is actually using grammar or playing way around with grammar to create a meaning, accentuate the meaning of being trapped, this animal being trapped. So that's a really interesting use of grammar, and you find that poets do that quite a lot. And then we see, again, the colour spreads that kind of pick up aspects of the language in that first one, a forest am I, etc. And then the reference to the snow, so we pick up these various aspects that the writer has mentioned in the illustrations. Shadow am I, in cage of twisty wire, cold concrete, thin, still, mute. Know they not that my spirit flies free, seeking the mouth of the river, the arms of the mountains? So then we have the river. So the mouth of the river there, okay. And turn the page, whoops. Interestingly, we have a rainbow here, and in this time of lockdown, there are many rainbows in the windows of houses and chalked on pavements. The rainbow has become a kind of motif for almost of this period that we're living through, because it signifies that kind of light and hope at the end of the storm. And then the text changes. Rest now, hear the stones, chant, the wind, console. And you can just see, probably, that the font has changed here. Whereas it was sharp, bold before, it's now a cursive script. And why is the writer done that? Why has the writer changed from that bold font to the cursive script? The natural, the movement, flowing, whereas perhaps before the angularity of the font represented the animal being caged. A cage is a very angular thing. It's sort of stake in the ground and so on. And the colours have changed. You've got warmer colours there now. And then it ends with dreaming am I. And the dreaming am I, yes, it could represent the sleep of the animal, but it also represents the end, the fact that the animal is now extinct and it is just a memory or a dream, part of our dream, the Thylacine.